Now, the Chief Justice will hand over the National Assembly list to the Secretary to Parliament at the Constitutional Court in Braamfontein this week. This is all in preparation for the first sitting of the National Assembly, which will take place at the Cape Town International Convention Centre. Let's take you live now to Parliament and to my colleague Ati Mtungana, who is tracking the story. So, Ati, a whole range of things kick in from the day of the declaration of the election results. There are clear timelines around how things unfold until the president is inaugurated.
Definitely, Michelle. So now we'll be focusing on Parliament and what they will be doing when they proceed. Of course, after that declaration of the 7th democratic elections, the Chief Justice, as you mentioned, this week in Braamfontein will be handing over that list of the IEC, of members of Parliament, members of the provincial legislature, to the Secretary to Parliament. Now, let's talk about the breakdown insofar as what steps will now be taken by Parliament, because remember, it is where the president will be elected. So the term of the current president and his executive, which is the cabinet, continues well until a new president is sworn in. We're slightly way ahead before that. So let's talk about the processes. Then I'm joined by Moloto Mothapo. Mothapo, thank you so much for your time. So as you've heard us speaking with Michelle, the Chief Justice this week handing over that list to the Secretary to Parliament. The ball is in your court. Talk to us about what happens after that.
Yes, indeed. On Thursday, we will be at the Constitutional Hill. The Secretary of Parliament will then receive the candidates list from the Chief Justice of the Republic. And this is intended, of course, to ensure that the administrative processes now begin to roll, to actually ensure that we put and capture all these 490 members of the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces into the system, into the database of the Parliament, and to ensure that, of course, we begin with the transport arrangement, the logistics, accommodation, to ensure that all these members from the various provinces of the country arrive in Cape Town on time, and we will be taking them through the capturing of their details for various purposes the day before the actual first sitting of the National Assembly. So, of course, we are waiting for the confirmation of the date for the first sitting from the Chief Justice, and I'm sure he will be in the next few days making that announcement, so that we can actually know the actual date, so that we finalize the accommodation. Already, of course, we've got CTICC as the place where both the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces first sittings will be taking place. We've already secured also another venue for the induction. I mean, that's what must follow once the members of Parliament are sworn in, so that they begin to, especially the new ones, who will interface with, the rules of the National Assembly, the rules of the National Council of Provinces, the joint rules of the joint sittings of Parliament. So they have to go through all those. What are their constitutional responsibilities? What are the expectations? The expectations of the public, because there is quite a mammoth responsibility on their shoulders to make sure that they represent the views and the voices and the aspirations and the hopes of the people of South Africa.
Speaking about the views of the people of South Africa, there's a lot of talk right now regarding how the president will be elected and the numbers that are needed, the quorum that is needed within the National Assembly. Is it going to be a joint sitting of the NCOP and the NA, or is it a certain number of National Assembly members to be able to elect a president? I'm saying this at the back, of course, of the MK party, which will constitute about 58 seats in the National Assembly. They're coming out to say they want to boycott the first sitting. So would that then affect the proceedings insofar as electing a president?
Look, in terms of the Constitution, there's a unique role of the National Assembly, which is to elect the president. So the president will be elected by the National Assembly, not the joint sitting of both houses. That's number one. Number two, we do know what is required in terms of the rules, the quorum, for the National Assembly to take decisions of this nature that entails the election of the president. But this first sitting is not our first sitting. We don't have the Speaker. We don't have any presiding officer in the National Assembly. That's the reason why the Chief Justice is coming to preside over the swearing in of the 400 members of the National Assembly, the election of the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, as well as, of course, the President of the Republic. He has gazetted the rules that will guide procedure on that day. So he is the one who will deal with any challenge, any question, any query relating to that first sitting. So we don't want to
in
speak
terms of the quorum.
Yes, because he is the head of a arm of the state that is independent from Parliament, and whatever the issues of the quorum and everything, he will be his best position to provide guidance to the public with regard to that.
So when is the swearing in? Quickly before I let you go, I'm sure we're running out of time, the swearing in. And then the second point that I want you to touch on, the new rules of Parliament make way for the opening of Parliament address. And then there's also the State of the Nation address, which are now two distinct events. Before you talk about that, then talk to us about when the swearing in processes then start kicking in.
Well, the Constitution says once the IEC has declared the results of the elections, which happened on Sunday, we've got 14 days within which the National Assembly must have its first sitting. So that's why we are saying that is a decision of the Chief Justice. He will announce when he's ready. And of course, once the National Assembly first sitting has sworn in the members, and it has elected its presiding officers and elected the president will proceed within 5 days to take oath of office, so that then he can appoint his cabinet and thereafter write to the presiding officers to call a joint sitting of Parliament, which is called the opening of Parliament address. It's different from the State of the Nation address. State of the Nation address takes place every February, and then the opening of Parliament takes place once every 5 years. So it takes place after the elections. It is to signify the official beginning of the business of the 5-year term of the new Parliament, and of course for the new president to outline the vision, the program, and the focus of the new administration.
Thank you so much for explaining that. Thank you so much, Moloto Mothapo, the spokesperson of Parliament, breaking down what will transpire following the Chief Justice handing over that list of Parliament and provincial legislators to the Secretary to Parliament, which will kick off the many processes that will unfold, including that all-important process of electing a president who will then appoint a cabinet to run the 7th administration of South Africa.